fait.
Mesdames, Messieurs, chers amis de la presse, je voudrais vous souhaiter la bienvenue pour cette conférence de presse. Je vais parler en premier, et puis le CEO, M. André Dujeune, va vous faire une présentation. Et par la suite, vous aurez l'occasion de poser des questions qui sont près de votre cœur. Comme vous deviez savoir, à pareille époque chaque année, on vient vous annoncer les résultats de la société. Mais d'abord, avant de vous donner des précisions sur les résultats, je voudrais quand même rappeler que l'industrie dans laquelle nous opérons, globalement, la période 2013-2014 a connu une amélioration. Il y a eu une augmentation de 4,6% dans le monde de l'aviation en termes commerciaux, en termes de revenus, et que la profitabilité nette globalement, après les taxes, s'élève à peu près à 10,6 milliards de dollars par rapport à 6,1 milliards de dollars pour l'exercice précédent. Il est évident que les compagnies aériennes ont eu à faire des efforts dans plusieurs domaines, inclut mergers, transformation, partenariat, réduction du personnel, modulation des vols, etc. etc. Et Air Mauritius n'est pas resté insensible dans ces circonstances. Je dois vous rappeler que quelque temps de cela, nous avons mentionné le 7-Step Plan que Sibérie nous avait proposé, que le conseil d'administration avait approuvé et que le management est en train de mettre en place. Et c'était prévu qu'après 2 années de l'implémentation de ce plan de transformation, qu'on va faire d'Air Mauritius une compagnie profitable. Effectivement, au nom de tous mes collègues ici, et aussi au nom du conseil d'administration, nous sommes heureux et surtout encouragés de vous annoncer que la compagnie Air Mauritius, c'est pas le groupe, va poster une profitabilité après taxe, c'est-à-dire net profit after tax, de 7,3 millions d'euros. Vous vous souvenez que l'année dernière, pour pareille époque, on a eu une perte et nous avons pu remonter une perte à peu près de 3,6 millions d'euros. On a pu surmonter ce déficit et arriver à poster un chiffre positif, c'est-à-dire 7,3 millions d'euros. Ce qui est plus encourageant encore davantage, c'est que ça représente 58% à comparer avec l'année dernière en termes de profit brut, c'est-à-dire gross profit. Et pour moi, ça représente un chiffre formidable. Et par conséquent, avec ces résultats nets de 7,3 millions d'euros, le conseil d'administration a donné son aval, et d'ailleurs ce qui a été déjà fait, un paiement de dividende de 0,50 sous pour chaque action, chose qui a été faite dans le mois de mars 2014. Le CEO a donné dans plus en détail sur le plan de transformation et les initiatives qui ont été prises. Mais en termes de ratio, si vous regardez le share price sur le marché, sur le stock exchange de Maurice, je me souviens, en 2012, vers septembre à peu près, le prix était à 10,50 pour l'action. Et qu'aujourd'hui, ça tourne autour de 17,50, 17,80, à un point donné même, c'était arrivé à 18 roupies par action. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes le second, de la seconde compagnie dont l'appréciation a été plus conséquente. Donc ces résultats ne peuvent que donner de la confiance, et d'ailleurs cela s'est démontré à travers la publication de nos résultats trimestriels en toute transparence depuis l'année dernière, et évidemment le prix de l'action augmente. Donc en tant qu'investisseur, les personnes sont intéressées à acheter des actions d'Air Mauritius. Mais je voulais quand même souligner, malgré que nous sommes toujours affectés par le taux d'échange euro-dollar et aussi par le prix du baril de pétrole, et aussi avec la compétition sévère, nous sommes arrivés à comme dit l'anglais, meet our objective of returning to profitability. Et je pense que ces résultats vont encourager davantage le management et tous les employés, et aussi pour le conseil d'administration de donner encore davantage de support à la direction et d'aller vers des investissements pour améliorer la qualité du service ou le produit final. Et je sais qu'il y aura une question, mais j'essaie d'anticiper, mais vous n'avez pas allé le renouvellement de la flotte de cet aspect. Je peux vous dire que c'est un travail extrêmement délicat, extrêmement compliqué. Ça doit prendre en considération plusieurs éléments, et que les gens peuvent croire que nous sommes en train de, ou plutôt d'être en retard sur le projet. Non, c'est pas ça. C'est que l'équipe a travaillé d'arrache-pied depuis qu'on avait pris la décision avec le 7-step plan, ou plutôt le 8-step plan, d'aller de l'avant. Il y a eu plusieurs discussions avec les fournisseurs d'avions, et nous sommes arrivés à un point où les discussions ont été très encourageantes, et ce que je peux vous annoncer à ce stage, c'est que nous allons entamer des further negotiations et tout laisse croire qu'en 2017-2018, nous pourrons avoir notre première livraison. Nous continuons à améliorer la qualité du produit. Et que malgré que les coûts augmentent dans tous les sens, Air Mauritius a pu contenir le coût en ligne avec les recommandations du 7-Step Plan. Et tout ceci nous a donné un résultat positif. Sans trop tarder, je vous demanderai aussi maintenant de donner plus en détail sur les efforts, les initiatives qui ont été prises et aussi d'autres renseignements sur les résultats. Merci.
The 7-step plan was devised, just to refresh your memory on that, and then basically deal with the impact this program has had on restoring the company back to profitability. So we started at the end of our financial year, 31st of March 2012, with a loss of 29 million in the business. This was primarily caused by the high fuel prices. Prices had hiked above $110 a barrel, the weak euro to the dollar, and the slump in demand from Europe. This is a very important statistic. From 2008 to 2013, more than 80 airlines have gone bankrupt and have disappeared. So to basically contextualize, when we had that loss of 29 million, it was in an environment where airlines were failing. So we took prompt and decisive actions in the business. Before we even had the loss of 29 million at the end of March, we already started addressing our business model. We realized that a model where fuel prices are above $110 a barrel and the euro weaker, and you're making losses of 30 million, that we would not sustain long term unless we address the business model. So with the assistance of Seabury APG, we performed extensive diagnostics analysis in the business and studied over 300 possible network scenarios in order to revamp the business model. And from that, in February 2012, we initiated and launched our focus on 7 core areas in the business. So although we call it a 7-step plan, it's not 7 logical steps, it's 7 focus areas in the business. So addressing these diagnostics, we came up with these 7 focus areas. The first 4 were to restore profitability, and the next 3 to ensure long-term sustainability. And I will give you a quick update on each of these. So starting with the first step, which is the network. Remember the network, where we fly to, how often we fly, the time we fly, and who we partner with. We re-looked at our network and decided to increase the number of partnerships we have and to create Mauritius as a hub and to drive origin and destination traffic. As a result, we suspended routes where we were flying once a week, these being Milan, Sydney, Melbourne, Geneva, Frankfurt. We modulated flights on other routes like Singapore, London and Durban, and we've grown capacity of flights, as you can see, on all the pluses in year 1 and pluses in year 2, on Mumbai, Perth, Nairobi, Cape Town, Kuala Lumpur, Antananarivo, Shanghai, which is our Chinese operation, and Beijing. So the network change we brought about was to consolidate east and west of Mauritius and to basically strengthen our services to those routes, and we curtailed the loss-making once-a-week flights in Europe. This was our 5-year plan to develop a full O&D network. 5-year plan, we're in year 2, and now moving into year 3, where the objective is to eventually grow frequencies, flights on routes, and attain what we call the 3-5-7 rule. That's starting with 3 flights, growing to 5, and eventually ending up with dailies, which are 7 flights a week. These are our partners. We have 2 that we're still exploring. We're in the process of exploring a partnership with either China Southern or China Eastern, and we're concluding a partnership currently with Cathay Pacific in Hong Kong, but extensive partnerships. The objective is to use the hub and spoke principle. We fly to the hub of a partner and we feed the traffic on and off their hub on their flights, and that's the spoke feeding the hub. And likewise, we have our hub in Mauritius, and we do the same for partners that cooperate with us. 2 important landmark collaborations this past year. We renewed our 5-year joint venture with our partner Air France. As you know, that we fly to Paris daily, they fly daily, and from Paris we have 33 points that Air France connects our traffic to in Europe. Very strong partnership, and we're very pleased that we've renewed this important joint venture. We've also concluded during the year a 10-year partnership with Emirates, where we have a number of seats that we market on each of their flights from Mauritius right through the world wherever they fly, and a very important collaboration for us going forward. Here you can see the impact of this revised network. Africa and Asia, we've grown with 24%. Paris went down 6, Africa up 14, Kuala Lumpur 14, Perth 161% growth, and China over 500%. So the restructure of this network was a very important step in the recovery of the business. Here you can see a little more on how we've rebalanced it. You'll see right up top, we've got the number of passengers, and we had 1,324,000 in 11-12 when we started the program. Went slightly down, and it's back up now to 1,330,000. If we look at our revenue has stayed flat, 451, 450, but this year we've grown it to 459 million euros. What is most important is we've achieved that revenue kept constant and grown with the kilometers we fly being reduced. We dropped our kilometers from 8.5 million to 7.4 and slightly increased it now to 7.7. Why is that important? We've maintained the revenue and slightly grown it, but I'm flying a lot less. And when you fly less, you're using less fuel, there's less maintenance and less costs. So a very important aspect of the restructure of the network. You can see that Asia and Africa has grown from 38% to 47% of our total revenue. And Europe has gone down from 31 to 21. So we rebalanced the network, kept the revenue even for 2 years and then growing, but a lot less kilometers we fly. Step 2 of the 7-step plan was to put a lot of effort into commercial and reinvigorate sales and to push sales up, and I'll share with you some of the actions we've taken. We introduced a new e-commerce website with the objective of selling more online tickets, and that's been very successful. We also created a platform where you can bid for upgrades from economy to business, and we also sell the upgrades at the airport. All these actions to keep improving revenue. We've developed an online booking system to sell holiday packages called Air Mauritius Holidays, which will be formally launched in the next few months, but has already been in trial for several months and working very well. This enables you to go into the web and into the platform, and you can say what date you want to travel and stay in Mauritius, and it will offer you airline seats and hotel rooms that you can then book and package and pay for online. So a very important initiative for us going forward. We've also concluded a reciprocity with Air France's loyalty program called Flying Blue. Ours is Kestrel Flyer, Where today, if you have miles and Kestrel flyer, you can use it to pay for a ticket on Air France, and someone with flying blue miles on Air France can use their miles to buy an Air Mauritius ticket. So immediately improves the ability between the two airlines to offer more sales capability and travel capability to the public. A very important step. And we're in the process of concluding the same with Emirates. In the next few months, if you have miles on Emirates loyalty program, you'll be able to use them to pay for Air Mauritius tickets and vice versa. Here you can see what's happened to passenger traffic. This year, 2013-14, we offered 1.8 million seats and carried 1.3 million passengers, and both these are records for the company. It's the highest number of seats we've ever offered for sale and the highest number of passengers we've ever carried. So the initiative to reinvigorate sales going forward, even although we substantially restructured the network in our step one, has worked for us, and we've seen an improvement in revenue, as you saw earlier. Step 3 was our cost reduction initiative, where we focused on a number of areas of reducing cost. We brought in a team to assist us, and we focused on 131 areas of cost saving, which together with the less flying has resulted in us reducing costs by 22 million since we started the program. So a very significant step. If you recall from the earlier slides, revenue was 450 and now grown to 459 million, and costs have gone down, as you can see, quite substantially. Here you can see the impact of steps 1, 2 and 3. Kilometers down from 8.5 million to 7.7, went down a lot more in the first year. We put some flights back. Our seats offered have gone to a record of 1.869 million. Passengers a record of 1.3. Revenue's gone from 450 to 459, and costs have gone down, as you can see, from 478 to 456. This is not the total revenue, that's passenger revenue. To that we have to add cargo, and we have to add other sundry revenue to get the total revenue of the company. Step 4 of the program was to have a look if we could deal with some non-core assets in the business, this building. Our objective is still to move to the airport and have everybody under one roof. We also were looking for a partner in our helicopter building, and we have the hotel in Redreeks, Cotton Bay, that we are questioning whether we should continue to hold it going forward. As you can see, they're still on the agenda, but we will do nothing until we have the right deal. At this stage, we've had some offers, but they weren't the right deal, so we're carrying it forward. Right, in terms of ensuring long-term sustainability, step 5 was about replacing our fleet going forward. We have 6 Airbus A340s, 4 of them are classics and 2 enhanced, which have 4 engines, and as we know today, with the price of fuel still remaining close to $110 a barrel, this is a significant challenge going forward, and we need to renew the fleet. In addition, the product on board needs to be refreshed and renewed, and this is going to be one of our significant, if I can call it, milestones which we expect to achieve in the coming few years. We had progressed well in our negotiations with Boeing and Airbus, and we are targeting for the first new aircraft to be achieved or received from 2017-18 onwards. So a very important game changer and sustainability step is the renewal of our fleet with new generation aircraft. As you know, these new generation aircraft save up to 25% in fuel as a result of the way they are structured and manufactured from composites and lighter than a current aircraft. Step 6 was to improve service quality. And this is about improving service across the board at every perception and touch point in the company, but with one key objective: to attain a 4-star Skytrax rating. Skytrax is the leading rating company of airlines in the world, and Emirates is a 4-star, South African Airways is a 4-star, British Airways is a 4-star, and Air Mauritius is currently a 3-star. So we're working on becoming a 4-star airline, and we put a lot of effort into attaining that status. We had Ron Kaufman, as you know, is a leading service strategist and trainer, assist us to take all our staff through stepping up programs, stepping up service. And we've also addressed, as a result of that program, many areas in the company where we could improve product and service. Here you can see, for example, seating, that we've changed the seat covers, we've got better blankets in economy, we have an economy kit, better toiletries, better food, and of course our new lounge, our business class and VIP premier lounge at the airport. All these are important steps that we are taking to up our service, to step it up and attain the 4-star Skytrax rating, and as well as ensure we retain and provide a great excellent service to our customers. We are continuing with that program. It's a journey. We started in the first 2 years with a stepping up focus, and we now this year have refreshed it again, and we are all about taking the next step up. And we ask all our colleagues every day, have you taken the next step up? And it's about taking that step up to keep service improving in the business. Step 7 is a focus on the people of the company. At the end of the day, the people make the business. The aircraft are fine. We've got aged aircraft, but we're in the process of renewing them. But it's the people that create the service quality. It's the people that provide the delivery in the end. And we have been putting a lot of effort this past few years also at stepping up our people, process and focus. And I've just listed a few things that we have done. We've implemented performance management and KPIs for the top executives and the management, and the objective going forward is now to cascade it right down in the company. We've invested in training and development. We've had some significant training programs in addition to the service one this past year. We've enhanced internal communications with a very nice letter that we sent to all the staff called our Air Letter, a little magazine. We are continuously focusing on re-evaluating jobs and ensuring that we have people graded properly. We have regular consultations with the unions. We've had MOUs that were signed several years ago that have now been fully implemented. And we've also followed 3 in fact, programs this past year to increase the Mauritianization of our pilots. We ran a pilot development scheme and an ab initio scheme, and we rerun the pilot development scheme again, and I'm pleased to say that we have currently over 20 Mauritians that will be going through, and some are already busy with a program where they will, we aim to eventually get them to be pilots at Air Mauritius. What has the impact been on our bottom line of the 7 steps? As you heard the chairman earlier say, we've restored profitability. But that came about notwithstanding the fact that many of the challenges we had these past 2 years ago when we started still persist today. Fuel is still high. It's 108, 109. In fact, 2 days ago went to 110. So fuel still remains high. Europe is still under pressure. So we've still got debt crisis. We've still got the economies that are subdued and issues in Europe. We also this past year had an exceptional situation where the currencies in the Rand currency, the Indian rupee, the Mauritian rupee, as well as the Australian dollar, witnessed a huge decline, and that severely impacted on our revenue in the business. Fortunately, we had some offset from the euro strengthening against the dollar. And lastly, we've seen intensified competition. So within all this, we've had fuel prices high, Europe still under pressure, pressure coming from other currency decreases and diminutions, as well as intensifying competition. So here you can see the rupee went down 5%, the South African rand 22%, the Indian rupee 13%, the dollar 9%, and the euro went up 4%. This gained us 17 million, the losses were 19 million, and we actually had a negative impact in the results of 1.3 million as a result of these currencies that were fluctuating up and down. So bottom line, our results would have been better by 1.3 million if we never had this situation. Competition, here you can see how competition has grown since 2010. We've gone from 1.5 million seats offered by competitors up to 1.9 million. This past year alone, we've had 30,000 more seats being offered during the current year, and since 2010 it's 320,000 more seats. Significant increase in competition that Air Mauritius has had to face. So where does it leave us? We started with a 29 million loss when we commenced implementing our 7-step program. In the first year, we targeted to reduce the loss, and we brought the 29 down to 3.6. And I'm pleased to say this year we've taken the 3.6 up to a profit of 7.3. When you take the turnaround, it has been a 36 million euro swing in the business. And that despite the fact that fuel prices stayed high, although it has come down in euro terms, it was, as you saw, more than offset by the weakening of the rupee and the rand and the Australian dollar. Chairman mentioned earlier about gross profit. Here you can see for the year, our gross profit has gone from 19 million to 30. That's a 58% improvement in gross profit. A significant sign that the operation has improved. So to sum up, I want to just cover this as well, shareholders' funds. This is a measure of the strength of your balance sheet. And although we know that our balance sheet, we had the hedging losses years before, that we don't have an exceptionally strong balance sheet, what is very gratifying is the ratio of debt to the equity in the business, the funds of the shareholders, has improved from 1.1 to 1 to 0.8 to 1. And that's a very important measure that we assess, is how strong is the company's ability to borrow money, especially with us now entering a new fleet program, is what is the level of gearing or debt in the business. And as you can see, right back here we had a 1.6 to 1. That means 1.6 times more debt than you have capital in the business. Has improved to where the debt is now 0.8 to 1, and a substantial improvement. So we're very pleased with the improvement in the gearing and the debt to equity ratio in the business. EBITDA is a measurement of the cash that the business generates in order to pay loans and leases and other amortization, and here you can see our dip down, and we've managed to build it back up to 66 million. In the industry, when you express that as a percentage of your revenue, your turnover, if you achieve 15%, you've achieved a very great level of benchmark in the industry. And as you can see, we brought it from 6 back up to nearly 15%, and so we are at the level of EBITDA that is considered very good in the airline industry. Cash improvement, quite significant. During the year, our operations generated 38 million cash, and we invested 17 of that in engines and other important aspects of running the fleet, and it has improved our cash basically by 26 million from a negative balance the year before to a current balance of 17 million. So a very significant improvement. So to sum up, what are the highlights of this year? And it's actually a 2-year period. First of all, our profits of 7.3 million, as you saw, was a turnaround from a loss of 36 million. Our revenues improved 2% to 459 million, despite the fact that we've cut flying. So we've cut flying, reduced cost, but kept the revenue Same for the first year, slightly better, 2% better in the second year. Operating and admin costs have gone down 22 million as a result of cost-saving programs and the less flying. Cash has improved by 26 million. We carried a record number of passengers this past year of 1.3 million. We've carried more than 121,000 passengers on our Asian and African routes. So our rebalancing, curtailing the flights out of Europe that were making losses and rebalancing east and west of Mauritius into Asia and Africa has worked. China traffic has grown 503%. We've stepped up our products and services and are continuing on the journey to attain our 4-star Skytrax rating. And as the chairman mentioned, we've paid a dividend to the shareholders of 50 cents in April. So I'd like to end off by thanking our shareholders, our customers, our employees, the government of Mauritius, our majority shareholder, trade and industry partners and the Mauritian public for their continued support that has made this turnaround of the business possible. And I'd also like to end by thanking our chairman and the board of directors who have given management a lot of guidance and support throughout these years, and most importantly my leadership team for their support and great efforts. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Coming back to one of the slides, I saw that the number of seats have increased, the number of passengers also, but percentage-wise, it has gone down compared to last year.
Yes, the load factor has dropped.
How would you reverse this trend?
Now, remember, when you put additional flights on, there's a period it takes to build up. So what we're seeing is that load factor is better than the first quarter of this year, and it's something we focus on all the time. But you put in the flight, and then the traffic builds up. So you do have a gap before it reaches the higher load factors.
So you're confident?
We monitor the load factors daily, and we take the necessary steps, whether it's sales campaigns, whatever we need to do to ensure we stimulate the market. Yes. Yes. As the chairman mentioned, that we do from time to time modulate flights. If we see a flight far forward is not filling up, we may in fact curtail the flight and not operate it. But we try to minimize it.
You know, the ECB just decreased the interest rate on the practice for all the banks in Europe. How would this impact on the parity euro-dollar, and for you, what would be the impact on your results, on your bottom line?
Remember, we earn the majority of our revenue in euros, and we pay the bulk of our costs in dollars. So of course, if the euro weakens against the dollar, it has an impact on costs. As you saw in this past year, the impact of the fuel price and the dollar was a significant 18 million odd, and what we lost on other currencies was 19 million, and they offset. So if the other currencies didn't devalue, we would have made a lot of money out of the euro strengthening against the dollar.
But do you think the euro will go down, or?
You know, if we had the answer.
You can anticipate.
Yes, no. So what we do in the business is it's monitored all the time. We obviously have our hedging program on both the euro and fuel price, that we have a layer of our costs that we fix to ensure that we don't have the volatility. And it's something that we have a risk steering committee, which is a committee of the board. It's chaired by the chairman. I'm a member, and we monitor it, constantly throughout the year, and we'll take the necessary actions to mitigate any substantial volatility.
You have talked about the renewal of the fleet, 2017-2018. There's a plan for 1, 2, 3 aircraft that you are going to renew.
First of all, the program, the refleeting, is looking at the 6 long-haul A340s. And what I said is that we are targeting for the first deliveries to start in 2017-18, and then they'll follow thereafter. It's a phased approach.
And does this include something for Rodrigue, ATR for Rodrigue? You're planning on that too?
No. The ATR is operated Rodrigues because of the runway, which will not take a jet aircraft. So you need a turboprop or jet prop aircraft because of the structure of the runway.
Buying some new ATR, maybe?
We acquired a new one last year. So we have one that is, if I can say, aging, and we will monitor at what point we need to replace it with another ATR.
We've seen that there is an increase of 500% on China, and by the end of the month there is a new actor in it. So are you planning something else for Air Mauritius and on that particular market?
We monitor obviously all competition and welcome competition for the country. As Air Mauritius, we will take the necessary contingent steps to ensure that we don't lose a lot of traffic if there are a lot of new entrants. But we don't believe that this is a charter operation that's necessarily going to have a big impact on our Shanghai and Beijing flights. It's more from the southern part of China, which is where our Hong Kong flights are. And we've taken the necessary steps to address it.
How do you explain your profitability? I mean, there's obviously the 7-step plan, but which element is the most important?
What I try to highlight is by flying a lot less kilometers and restructuring the network where we fly shorter distances. We've kept the revenue flat the first 2 years and then grown it slightly, but brought costs down substantially by flying less and cost reduction programs. So in a nutshell, revenue flat, slightly growing, cost down, gives you profits.
And what are the ingredients needed to sustain the profitability of the company?
Well, it's continued focus on growing revenue and achieving our revenue, keeping our passengers, and continuing to control and monitor costs. And as you saw, and the chairman rightly says, people performance, and that's why we've introduced performance management systems to step up performance.
Policy-wise, what do you have in mind for the future, say for the next 2 or 3 years?
In terms of? Sorry, I didn't...
Policy-wise, what do you have in mind?
Well, as you saw, step 5, which is our refleeting, is the major exercise that will keep us extremely focused for the next couple of years. And obviously thereafter to grow the business.
Mauritius wants to grow its business specifically in China, make more frequencies or perhaps new route, maybe a Shenzhen. But with the actual fleet, it's difficult. Do you plan other possibilities than buying for leasing, for example? Because last year we were talking about 2016 or 17, now it's 17 and 18. So do you have other issue than buying? I know that Emirates has more orders for military as well. It's an opportunity for Mauritius.
Well, just for a start, the Emirates order that has been cancelled was for A350s in 2019. So the availability of both the Boeing 787 or the Airbus A350 from the manufacturers, the first deliveries available are only in 2019 onwards. And it's from lessors where there are operating leases that we can get earlier deliveries. And they've always been from 17, not 16. So we are in discussion with lessors and with Boeing and Airbus for a mix of bought from the factory and leasing.
And what about the modernization of a cockpit crew?
Yes.
Moving from how much to how much in the coming years?
What we did is today we have 68 Mauritian pilots and around 80 foreigners. Our objective over time is to change that ratio. And from our first program, we had 4 successful candidates. They've been for upgraded training, and 3 are going to basically be joining the fleet, flying. And then from the second program, we had 15 successful candidates, and we will be taking 5 a year and paying for their schooling, licensing and all that to bring them in. So it's a program eventually that could see around 20 additional Mauritian pilots that Air Mauritius is funding. In the short term, yes, it's in the next few years. And then of course we'll do the program again. To give you an example, we had close on 300 candidates apply for the Ab initio program, and only 15 were found to be suitable.
Just a question on regional and transport. There will be a conference organized by the Indian Commission Ocean on July that will talk on this subject, and many proposals will be done for open sky or air pass in the region. What are Mauritius' point of view and proposal about develop the regional air transport?
I think I made it very clear, in no uncertain terms, that Air Mauritius is not prepared to go into a regional airline at this point.
No, but not for the airline, but perhaps partnerships or...
It depends what are the offers that are made on the table. Our focus is to get this company back to profitability, and sustainable profitability for the future as well, not only for 1 year. So there are quite a number of fundamentals we have to look at for the airline to be able to sustain the profitability for the years to come. And then we can probably think, how do we cooperate in getting this regional airline in place? I mean, I have no objection personally that the regional airline is being created. But when I wear the hat of the chairman, being chairman of the Air Mauritius, you can't run after two hairs at the same time. So our priority is different from the Indian Ocean rim regarding the project of regional airline.
It's not specifically airline, but it's maybe a partnerships or air pass in the Indian Ocean.
Well, you've seen that we've partnered with a number of airlines. It depends what are their proposals and to what extent is going to benefit Air Mauritius and also the country. And certainly, something which makes sense to us, we'll engage in it. But we don't know. I can't just, on behalf of the company, and commit that yes, we are all in favor. I know I've been criticized for that, for taking position, but I still maintain my position. You know, setting an airline today is a massive risk. I don't know whether you followed the figures closely. You know, the margin that is being generated in an airline business is very low, let alone the elements of risk that are inherent in that business. You imagine just one delay as a result of cyclone or bad weather, how much it costs you. And the whole schedule has to be returned again. And we have to face that. We have too many risks. But this airline has existed since 1967.
It can be commercial partnership, so because Seychelles has a proposition for.
You're talking about Seychelles. I mean, I'm sorry to say that.
No.
Does Seychelles have an airline?
No.
One should get out of it if you want to get back to it. It's very difficult. Very difficult. This company, je le dis ça en français parce que le mot est compliqué, a joué un rôle prépondérant et continue à jouer un rôle prépondérant. Et notre objectif, du moins le mien, c'est de faire Air Mauritius le partenaire incontournable et un major economic operator pour le pays. Et au pouvoir, il parle comme notre objectif. Et pour ce faire, il faut bien prendre des décisions importantes, courageuses, inclus de ne pas rentrer dans un projet que nous ne savons même pas de feasibility, l'étude de faisabilité. Parler, c'est une chose, mais quand vous regardez l'étude de faisabilité, s'il y a eu, et je l'ai vu ça, on peut évaluer pour dire, oui, ça fait du sens qu'Air Mauritius puisse rentrer en partenariat dans tel domaine, tel domaine, tel domaine. Qui vous dit que, par exemple, on ne peut pas, nous, utiliser notre service de maintenance à fournir le service à cette compagnie régionale? On ne sait pas. Il se peut qu'il y a d'autres fournisseurs de services pareils dans la région. Donc il y a plusieurs éléments. S'il n'y a pas d'autres questions, je vous invite à prendre un café ou un thé à côté. Et